Gautamji recently announced that turning crisis into opportunities. And as he rightly said, that we are all passing through some of the worst phases of our life. Never in the past, this generation of ours, or any generation existing upon this earth, had seen such a pandemic and the crisis following that pandemic. Since last more than a year, like about 15 months, and still experts say that we are highly anticipating the third wave. We are in the midst of a huge crisis at the moment. The personal front, on the family front, on the social front, on the professional front, on the social service front. We are like all warriors warring, fighting on different fronts. But when we want to, and really we want to, turn this crisis into opportunities of not just earning, but opportunities of services. Not just of services, but opportunities of praying. As we had a condolence meet, I'm so sorry that I just started my video and I just interrupted, and Apurva told me that a condolence silence is going on. So I'm very sorry for that to disturb, but my innermost and sincere condolences for those for whom you were having a condolence silence. My prayers for that family. So we all want this crisis to be turned into opportunities of not just earning, but serving, and not just serving, but praying for everybody and being with people, which is most important. So for that, the first and the foremost thing, where can I make a small positive change in myself so that I can better fit the new ecosystem? I would use the word, without hesitation, the new ecosystem. Because now there are new ways of talking and walking. Now there are new ways of associating with people. Now there are new ways of working. I would say that many companies have just decided that we would go work from home lifetime. Commercial spaces in metro cities are getting empty. So that they are empty. And so new ways of associating with people, new ways of work. And as I said, new ways of living and working. So where can I make a positive change in myself so that I can better fit my ecosystem in my habit? At my home, in my association with family members. Habit means waking up in the morning, or maybe something doing like yogasans in the morning, whatever. Where can I better associate with people, with my office colleagues, so that I can better fit the system? In 1996, our present Guru Hari Param Pujya Mahan Swami Maharaj and a group of saints, they were touring all over the world and seeing the museums and meeting the curators, principally for one reason, that we were coming up with the giant monument dedicated to Indian culture and the life and teachings of Bhagwan Swaminarayan at the Swaminarayan Akshardham in Gandhinagar. As part of their tour, they visited Stuttgart in Germany, where it's the principal manufacturing plant of the Mercedes-Benz. The PR guide was showing the group of saints around. And again, he would put forward the point that whatever changes we are making or we intend to make in the new versions, our principal motto is to save the lives of people in times of accidents. Now, at one point, he said that we have come up with a new version in which we have added an extraordinary facility for safety. And that facility is that in case of an accident, a balloon props up between the steering and the driver's chest and works as a cushion, so that the steering does not gush into the chest of the driver and break his ribs and lungs, and probably it can prove fatal. So that was amazing at that time in 1986. And saints were like, wow, that's great. Now we find it in many cars, but at that time it was quite new and amazing. One of our saints, he posed a very simple question, that who actually creates the accident, the car or the driver? Who actually creates the accident, the car or the driver? Then the PR guide said, of course, Swami, it is the driver who creates the accident because of maybe like his mind gets distracted, or a misjudgment, whatever. He's drinking and driving, or maybe gets engrossed in some audio or music or songs. Then I'm saying, where do we need to make the changes? Definitely, we need to make a lot of changes in technology, and the improvised version of technologies are the need of the day. So because of technology, we are all able to come together today on this fine evening and share and care for each other in this session of Rotary. But at the same time, we need to make changes, improvements, positive ones in human beings as well. Because the best of technology in the worst of humans can create a disaster. You might just have heard that over the weekend past, July 4th, which is America's Independence Day. In that weekend, more than 1,000 American companies suffered a cyber attack. So best of technologies in the worst of hands can create a disaster. On the other hand, perhaps less on technology, but in the hands of best of humans, can create wonders, can create opportunities, can create happiness for all existence upon this earth. So definitely technology upgradation is needed, but at the same time, upgradation in human behavior, upgradation in human attitudes, upgradation in human thinking, upgradation in human character, upgradation in human knowledge and wisdom is also the need of the hour. This upgradation is turning crisis into opportunity. My first point in this lecture is upgradation of human quality. Where can I make a small positive change in myself so that I can better fit the ecosystem? I just shared you a small funny example, but it's a real life story. One of my friends, he had put in a lot of weight because he's a good corporate executive, but he would find very less time during routine times to go to the gym or exercise. So he had grown past 100 kgs, and his wife and children would always shout, and his mother back home would always shout at him that, Arpit, you have put a lot of weight. Sorry, I named him. You have put in a lot of weight and you need to reduce it, this, that. In this times of lockdown, the first lockdown announced by the Honorable Prime Minister in March 2020, he decided to go to bed early at night, have dinner early at 7:30 or 8 p.m., and then wake up early and do some exercises. And he had a treadmill machine at home, do some yogasans. In that period of lockdown, in the first, second, and the third lockdown, that is March, April, and May last year, he could reduce about 30 kgs and was a fine, healthy young man, and which was much appreciated by his family. And then he told me that, Swami, I did this. I said, maintain this and make it a habit and keep this practice every day. A small positive change, he said, I made in my daily routine, which gave me a lot of advantage. And my family also, we had a happy wave. Forget the COVID wave, but we had a happy wave. Sorry, there is a sudden disruption of power at our place. I would be back in a couple of minutes or even less than that, in half a minute. But I think I'm properly audible, so no issues. Okay, the power is back. So a small positive change. I just said obviously a physical change, but a small positive change in yourself, you can turn a crisis into an opportunity. Second thing, your thinking. My second point in the talk is become a prosperity thinker. Don't become a poverty thinker. What does a prosperity thinker think? Yes, tomorrow morning the sun is going to rise with an opportunity for me. Yes, tomorrow morning when I open the window of my bedroom, the first rays of sun coming in will be the rays of hope. Yes, tomorrow morning somebody is going to meet me, which is going to open a small window of opportunity, a probable opportunity for me. Yes, I have a wonderful family to support me. Yes, I have a couple of friends with whom I can share everything of my life. Yes, there are a few people in my life who care for me. Think of this during times of crisis. Think of the prosperity that you have. Think of the resources that you have. That prosperity thinking has the power to keep you up in spirits. That prosperity thinking has the energy to keep you up in positive mode all during the day. So become a prosperity thinker. Don't become a poverty thinker. What does a poverty thinker think? Oh my God, मर गए, अब कल सुबह क्या होगा, कोई आशा ही नहीं बची है मेरे जीवन में, कोई मदद करने वाला नहीं मिल रहा है, और अंधेरा ही अंधेरा दिखता है, क्या होगा? I don't say that such situations don't crop up in your life. There are situations and times and days in your life when you don't see a single window open around you. You feel suffocated. But still, at that given time, it is a human duty, it is a human endeavor, and more than that, it is a human dignity to think of prosperity. You can think of your past glorious days, and you can always be hopeful of your future wonderful days. But at that moment, at the present moment, even in any amount of stress or suffocation, you can still, by thinking of your past glorious days and future hopeful days, you can still remain stable. So that stability is the start of the opportunity in the times of crisis. So my second point is this: become a prosperity thinker. Don't become a poverty thinker. For that, many a times you keep an emergency pill besides you. People with high sugar or high blood pressure problems, they keep the medicine in their pocket, carrying their purse, always in their person. In the same way, make a good list of the resources that you have, as I counted it out all just a couple of minutes back. Make the list of those resources that you have. That is the prosperity that you have. And attach that list somewhere in your bedroom, somewhere at your study table. And whenever you feel suffocated or stressed, go to that place and read out the list loudly. I have a wonderful family. My spouse is supporting me since 30 years. I have a couple of wonderful children. My son has started earning. My daughter has got an admission in the pharmacy course which she really wanted to do. My brother is always with me. A couple of friends, I can always talk to them at midnight and care and share everything. So these are all the resources that you have. When you think of your resources in times of crisis, those resources have the power, that thinking has the power to stabilize you, and that stability is the first step. It can open the door towards prosperity, towards opportunities. So become a prosperity thinker, don't become a poverty thinker. Third thing, don't just keep on focusing on the hurt. See, all of us have been hurt on the personal level, family level, professional level, relationship levels. Many of us have lost our near and dear ones, or many of us have lost somebody in our friend circle, known circle, social circle. But if you don't accept the situation as it is, you will constantly focus on the hurt. And if you constantly focus on the hurt, you will continue to suffer. But if you constantly focus on the lessons that you learned during these times of hurt, you will continue to progress. You will continue to grow. Now choice is yours, but make a wise choice, so you stand a good chance for a great change in your life. I think you got my point well. So the third point is this: accept the situation and don't focus on the hurt. Why this happened to me? You are not out of this 7 billion population upon this earth. This pandemic has affected everybody. Doctors have lost their lives, saints have lost their life, entrepreneurs have lost their life, businessmen have lost their lives. You might be knowing this name, Dr. K.K. Agarwal, who used to post videos giving knowledge and information to people about the present times of Corona on a regular basis, weekly basis. And he was so kind enough to share his own knowledge and experience with people through social media, absolutely free of cost. So generous guy. He got entrapped in Corona. He was admitted to AIMS. But somehow he could not be saved. Dr. K.K. Agrawal passed that. He was a Padma Bhushan. So accept that the times are bad. Accept that there are crises. See, acceptance lightens you. My main point is this: acceptance lightens you. And when you lighten yourself, your mind has the power to spring back and come up with ideas. So my third point is this: accept the situation that it is affecting everybody. I'm one of that everybody. It can affect me also. It has already affected me. And perhaps for a few months down the line, it is still going to affect till the good times are back, till the olden days are back. It is going to affect. I must accept it. I must walk, talk, think, behave in a way that it has minimum impact on me and my family and my surroundings and the people with whom I am concerned and the people who are concerned with me. And don't focus on the heart. Focus on the lessons learned. That is turning crisis into opportunity. Now, so far in the talk, I told you three things. That was from the thinking point of view. First was, where can I make a positive change in myself so I better fit the new ecosystem? Second, become a prosperity thinker, don't become a poverty thinker. Third was like, accept the situation and don't focus on the hurt, focus on the lessons so you grow. This was on the thinking part, on the attitude part. Now let's come to the practical part, to the doing part, the practical part and to the doing part. The doing and the practical point number one is, let's do something. Let's apply the best of my resources to do something. Where can I find a space? Is there a window open for me? Can I meet that person? Can I call him and ask him to find an opportunity for me? Can I start my business there? There is a social organization right in my neighborhood. Can I contribute something there? If not physically, monetarily. If not monetarily, I can give at least 2 hours of service in the evenings or once in a weekend. What can I do for the betterment of myself, for my family, for my business, for an NGO? You people are very lucky, very fortunate that you are associated with an extraordinary service organization like Rotary International. And I always had the fortune of being associated with n number of Rotary clubs. Perhaps this could be my more than 150th Rotary talk today with Bombay West. So during many occasions, I've been with the Rotary Club. Dr. Agam Srivastava is here online. He has also asked me to talk on an occasion once, and I've been with him. So I see many good friends here. What I mean to say is that you are associated with wonderful organizations. So to turn crisis into opportunity, where can I put my all resources, from my academics to my experience to my know-how to my working strategy to my platforms, to my intelligence, to my connectivity in the society? All these resources can I bring together in some or the other way, in some permutations and combinations, that I can work out my work better. But let's do it. I don't want to sit idle. I want to do something. Can I work? Can I help? Ask yourself constantly this question right from the morning. Where can I work today? Where can I apply my resources? And where can I help somebody, some organization, somewhere? When you keep on asking this question to yourself in the morning, we saints at BAPS, we do this. And when we ask this question, in the heat of the second wave, I'm talking of 13th of April, 10th of April, 11th of April. We here at BAPS Vadodara, Dr. Agam Srivastava knows that we are in Vadodara in a span of just 4 days, that is 96 hours, not even 100 hours. We erected from a total ground to a 500 oxygen bed filled hospital. 500 oxygen beds with 13,000 liter liquid oxygen tank erected, copper tubing to each and every bed, mobile units, more than 60 units of toilets and urinals erected. Then We provided free meals to all the patients, their relatives, doctors, 3 meals a day, 2 snacks a day. That is at 11, we used to provide in the morning a fruit, at 4 p.m. tea, coffee, snacks, whatever. To more than 600 other families all over the city of Vadodara, we BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha, with the blessings of our Guru Mahan Sai Maharaj, we send meals to their homes. Imagine, in 4 days, a 500-bed field hospital. And within the Mandir campus, within the campus of our religious place, within the Mandir campus. And we have still not disassociated the liquid oxygen tank and the copper tubing. In case, we pray to God that such severity doesn't come in the third wave, but in case, if it happens, we are ready to start it in 2 days. In 48 hours, we can start 500-bed field hospital. See, when you ask yourself every in the morning, where can I do? What can I do? I really want to do. Work and help, work and help, work and help. Where can I work and where can I help? Then you will turn crisis into opportunity. See, we turn a crisis into a wonderful opportunity to serve. And let me share you a wonderful news that you all would love to hear. That not a single patient at our field hospital lost his life. All went back. More than 2,000 patients in a span of 1.5 months went back happily to their near and dear ones, to their family. In our boys' hostel here, we have 50 rooms. The hostel was empty because all the college boys had gone back to their home and they were studying online. All these 50 rooms we converted into a COVID care center. 2 beds per room. So 100 beds there. Another 100 patients were taken care there at the COVID center. We have our own hospital here in Vadodara, the Niramai Hospital. There we have 40 beds. Even today when I'm talking to you, even today at this moment when I'm talking to you, all the 40 beds are fully occupied. Since last 1.5 years, we have converted that hospital into a COVID hospital. What I mean to say is, when we decide to care and share, our BAPS hospital, our BAPS Mandir in Abu Dhabi, it is coming up at Abu Dhabi on the Dubai-Abu Dhabi Expressway, 25 acres of Mandir campus. From there, our saints and the BAPS organization sent more than 5,000 oxygen concentrators from Dubai via ship and air at the peak time when we were in shortage of oxygen. We sent cryogenic tanks from Dubai to India. I know Rotary International also done wonderful services because I'm associated with it. What I mean to say is, when you Rotarians, when we in BAPS, we are all service organizations, when we decided, we did something. So when you want to turn crisis into opportunity, tell yourself in the morning, yes, today I want to do, I want to work and I want to help. Let me share you a wonderful incident. When the first lockdown was announced by the Honorable Prime Minister, that was March last year, and it was an absolute sudden announcement, which was the need of the hour at the time. Many people got stranded who were working to faraway states from their home states. They could not get connectivity down 3-4 states to go back to their homes, and they got stranded. Few such people were students of Indian Institute of Technology at Mandi in Himachal Pradesh, IIT Mandi students. Many of those were coming from faraway states in India to study there. Some of the professors, teachers, lab technicians also got stranded because they could not go back to their homes. Now, it was an absolute lockdown from 23rd or 24th of March last year, 21 days lockdown. Second, third lockdown was also expected because it happened in the European countries, in the American countries before us. So a couple of days passed and they just talked to each other that if we just rest like this, we will rust. If you keep resting, you will rust. What can we do? Let us do something, yeah? So the students came together, the professors came together, and a brainstorming session, they came to a conclusion that let's design a mask, affordable, cheap mask, but of the quality of N95. That was a wonderful idea because at that time, few people were making masks, PPEs, and ventilators in India. Today, India is an exporter in all this thing. This is again turning crisis into business opportunities. Today, India is an exporter of masks, of PPEs, of ventilators. At that time, we had crisis of it. So IT students came up with this. Now, the second point of discussion was in the meeting, what raw material to be selected for it. And somebody came up with an idea, let's select a waste material. Let's make it environment friendly. Let's help the environment as well. Now somebody like you and me said, "Arey yaar, ye tu kya soch raha hai? Can you make masks from your waste material? You are actually inhaling oxygen from this. और waste material में से तुझको mask बनाना है क्या?" तो किसी ने कहा कि नहीं यार, सोच तो सकते हैं, brainstorming है, चल रहा है, सब ideas चलने दो. Let's discuss on everything. But they finally decided to use a waste material. Third point of discussion meeting, which waste material? And somebody came up with an idea that we use mineral water bottles to drink water. We trash those bottles. Can we use that plastic of waste mineral bottles to make N95 quality, affordable, cheap mask? Now, this was a wonderful challenge for IIT. And we know IIT students are capable of picking up such challenges. They are premier technical institutes, not only of the country, but of the world. Today, NASA, Microsoft, Google, they harbor huge figures of IITians there. So I said, yes. So next day, the chemistry laboratory was open. Within the campus, you could move lockdown. So you cannot go out of campus, but in the campus, you can do some activity. And the students collected all water bottles from the hostel building, from the administrative building, from the college building, from the lab building. And solutions are prepared. This dissolved in it. Again, something came up. So 1.5 to 2 months of experimentation. And finally, they came up by dissolving these water bottles in prepared certain kind of chemical solutions. They came up with a nano, non-woven membrane, which can be used as a mask, very cheap and affordable, but N95 quality. They patented it and went into manufacturing, turning crisis into opportunities. They designed a mask, that too from a waste material, very cheap, affordable, and that too of the quality of N95. And they got a patent of it. IIT Mandi holds the patent for it. Isn't this a wonderful task done? Just raise your hands if you say yes. Thanks. This is a wonderful task done. This is called turning crisis into opportunity. They did both. They got a patent, they got business, and they served the society. Because making available a cheap, affordable N95 quality mask is a wonderful service to society. This is called turning crisis into opportunity. This is my first point in the second part of the talk, that is doing and practicals. How can you turn crisis into opportunities? That is turning crisis into opportunity. Don't just sit back. अरे यार क्या करेंगे? अब तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. क्या कुछ नहीं हो सकता है? सब कुछ हो सकता है. Did we ever believe that so much of work can happen from home? That so much of work from home can happen? Did we ever believe? नहीं यार, ऑफिस तो जाना पड़ेगा, कलीग्स के साथ बैठना पड़ेगा, मीटिंग तो करनी पड़ेगी, चर्चाएं के बाद कुछ नतीजे पे आएंगे. अरे if you don't go to office, how can you work? अरे घर में तो बैठे बैठे बोर हो जाएंगे. ये सभी बातें ये कोरोना ने बदल दी. Yes or no? In fact, the productivity has increased. The productivity has increased. Otherwise, how can the GST go to pre-COVID levels at the moment? And it was more than the pre-COVID levels. अभी ये पिछले महीने की 1 लाख करोड़ से कम आई है, लेकिन बाकी 1,15,000 करोड़, 1,20,000 करोड़, 1,25,000 करोड़ की GST है per month. And India created a record of any good quarter since independence. Since independence, the best 3 month is a quarter of the year. The best quarter of the year when it comes to exports was the last 3 months. Just 5 days back, it was announced that in the last 3 months, India exported $95 billion worth of merchandise and other products. That means people turn crisis into opportunity, isn't it? Otherwise, how can you have 1,20,000 crores GST? How can you have $95 billion of India record, an all-time India record of a quarter exports? How can you have Sensex zooming past 50,000? That means people are turning crisis into opportunities. That the results prove. Am I right or wrong? That means people are turning, these three figures is turning crisis into opportunities. The GST, the Sensex, and the exports. As simple as that. So if you decide, my pointing in putting forward this is, if you decide, you can. I would request all Rotarians to repeat this with me. Don't unmute yourself. Don't unmute yourself. Just with your lip movement, I can understand that you have said this. Whatever I say, you are supposed to repeat. If I decide, I can.
Yes.
If I decide, I can.
Yes.
The third and the last time. If I decide, I can.
Yes.
So, if you decide, you can. This is turning crisis into opportunities. Second point. Don't fear the crisis. Human beings are capable to accept any challenges of nature. Forget the challenges of humans. See, we had the First World War. We came out of it in progress. Immediately after the First World War, that was the Spanish flu. For 2 years, from 1918 to 1920, just 100 years back, we came out of it progress. Then in 1928-29, we had the Great Depression. We came out of it in progress. Then from 1938-39, we had 7 years of World War II. We came out of it in progress. So the history says that all natural challenges or even man-made challenges, human beings have been victorious. They have come out of it and they have progressed. So this challenge also will come out of it and will progress. हारेगा तो virus, जीतेगा मनुष्य. As simple as that. Because we human beings are the best creation of God. Viruses are not the best creation of God. We human beings. So the best creation wins. We will win. और win की तरफ जा रहे हैं. क्या काम किया है देश ने? क्या काम किया है सरकार ने? क्या काम किया है नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने? Excellent work. What is 35 crore plus vaccinations? That means we have vaccinated whole of America. अमेरिका की पॉपुलेशन 35 करोड़ है. We vaccinated whole of America. इंग्लैंड में अभी थर्ड वेव चल रहा है. More than 20,000 cases in England at the moment every day. But fine, because of the vaccination program, the hospitalization level is quite low. That means it is manageable. Hospitalization is quite manageable at the moment in UK. But Indonesia, Colombia, Vietnam, South Africa, there is not a single bed in the city of Johannesburg at the moment when I'm talking to you. तकलीफ सब जगह पर, जहां पे वैक्सीनेशन अच्छा हुआ, at all those places. Even in the third wave, the hospitalization load is quite manageable, fairly manageable. 35 crore vaccines, that means we have vaccinated 6 UK, 6 England, we have already vaccinated. And we are vaccinating at the pace of 60, 70 and 80 lakhs per day. क्या सिस्टम काम कर रही है? क्या नेटवर्क काम कर रहा है? Imagine in a country like India, where we have a lot of diversity, from thinking to ideologies to behaviors to literacy, everything. We have huge diversity. In the midst of that, we are vaccinating 60 to 70 lakh plus people every day. Deep penetration into rural India. That means the system is working. Government is at its full throttle. But crisis फिर से हम लोग खड़ी ना करें, जिम्मेदारी हम पे है. पिछले 3 दिन में आपने फोटोग्राफ्स देखे होंगे न्यूज़पेपर में. Hill stations are crowded. So that's turning crisis into more crisis. Opportunities nahi. Hill stations are crowded. All places like Udaipur and all those places are crowded. Government ने already warning दे दी है. कल भी दी थी central government ने warning. आज भी दी है. Okay, this is like inviting again the crisis at your doorstep. So when you follow the norms of the government, the norms and the discipline prescribed, and be a responsible citizen, whichever caste or creed or religion that we believe in, whatever the ideology we believe in, that is part 2 of the story. Part 1 is be a responsible citizen. Yes or no? Whatever our ideologies, whatever religion, caste, creed we believe in, but first we are all citizens of the country. And it is our moral duty to obey the guidelines and disciplines of the democratically elected government of India. As simple as that. As simple as that. So if you don't do that, you will be inviting crisis, turning crisis into more crisis. Forget opportunities. So my second point is this. In practicals and doing, obey, obey, and obey. Even if you are fully vaccinated and you've completed 1 or even 2 months of your second dose, still to wear a mask when you step out of your house is your moral obligation as a responsible citizen. Still to keep social distance is your moral obligation as a responsible citizen. Still to keep sanitizing your hands is your moral obligation as a responsible citizen. Because you can become a career. If you don't get affected, still you can become a carrier. So don't become a carrier. Otherwise, you will turn crisis into more crisis. To turn crisis into opportunity, you need to obey all the norms and COVID disciplines at the moment. My third point in practicals and doing, that when you keep up your spirits, that I will not bogged down by the situation. I will fight. I will not get bogged down by the situation. I will fight. Third time, I will not get bogged down by the situation. I will fight. There is always a way. Be hopeful. There is always a way out. Every problem has a solution. A locksmith never makes a lock without a key. Is there any purpose making a lock without a key? In the same way, nature doesn't create any problem without a solution. There is always a solution. Let me share you a wonderful story. In the year 2008, it happened in the city of Paris in France that two friends just came together. One of the friends was traveling from US to Paris for some work for a week. And he had called up his old friend there in Paris that at the weekend, on Saturday evening, we will meet and have a wonderful dinner together. And since we have not met since a few months, we'll sit together and have a long chat. Two were best friends. So on a fine Saturday evening, they came together at the hotel and they were enjoying their dinner. Good 1.5 hours sitting together. And when they just finished the dinner and walked back to the foyer in the reception area, they were surprised to find a very long queue there. And they asked the receptionist, ma'am, what is this for? And the receptionist said, sir, there is heavy snowfall in the entire city of Paris. Because of that, the traffic is jammed, and in few streets, the traffic is moving very slowly, and the rain and the snowfall is very heavy. So those people who had come by their own cars, they already left, but this is the queue for those people who had come by cab, that is a taxi. So they're waiting their turn for the cab. And Then the receptionist said, sir, have you come by your own car or by cab? And the two young men said, no, we have come by cab. The receptionist said, sir, then please join the queue. And they were fine. They just walked away. Standing in the queue, they saw that with the movement of the queue that they were like 2.5 to 3 hours stranded there. From the movement of the queue, they found out that this would take 2.5 to 3 hours to get a cab. Now what to do? So what would we do at that time? Now ask yourself. See, we are talking on which point? A goldsmith never makes a lock without a key. And there is not a single problem upon this earth, it doesn't have a solution. Now what would we do in these times? Maybe we open our WhatsApp or have a call with a couple of friends, or maybe a couple of calls to be made, some work calls, whatever we may finish it, that's fine. Or maybe like if we are free, we open the net and our favorite website and go through some music or whatever, that's also fine. Or maybe like, a couple of mails to be answered over the weekend, fine, you'll do that, that's fine. And a youngster would do like just turn around and take a selfie with the whole queue and post it on social media. His friends will, oh my God, he was stranded, and have a couple of emotional ups. Oh, this is also fine. Okay. This too did something different. That this problem should have a solution. This must be happening in all the snow-falling countries, in European and American countries, Canada, all those places during winter times. And sometimes old age people must be getting stranded because of sudden snowfall. Can we find a solution to this problem? So this is turning crisis into opportunity. This attitude, this spirit, and this belief that every problem has a solution, that is turning crisis into opportunity. So they said that, can we make a mobile app? Can we make a mobile app that can help people with pre-booking a cab, maybe 20, 30 minutes before they actually want it? They get a message on their mobile, this is the driver's number, this is phone number, this is the cab's number, and it would arrive at your place after 27 minutes. That was a fantastic idea. They both discussed the technicalities of it. By that time, it was almost 3 hours. They had their turn the cab. They took the cab, went back to their apartment. The other friend flew back to California. Still for 6 months, they discussed about the technicalities of it, the design of it. And they came up with an app which was first installed in 510 cabs in Los Angeles, successful, 1,500 cabs, successful, 200, 500 cabs, successful. When I'm talking to you today, that mobile app is providing 3 million rides a day in 66 countries of the world. I'm talking of none other than Uber, which all of us on some of the occasion have used. I'm talking of Uber. This is the birthplace of Uber, Paris, and the two gentlemen, young rather, who got stranded on that snowy night in Paris and who got this idea, the owners of Uber, none other than Mr. Travis Kalanick, who is the youngest startup billionaire because of Uber, and his little known friend and business partner, Mr. Garrett. So this is the story of Uber, turning crisis into opportunity, isn't it? How can we find a solution? I can always find a solution. There is always a solution to a problem. That attitude, that belief can turn a crisis into opportunity. And my last point, more of spirituality, less the impact of crisis on you. More of spirituality, you adhering to spiritual values, you adhering to spiritual rites and rituals, that is religious rites and rituals, which are part of spirituality. Somebody asked me the other day, I was talking just 2 days back, and somebody asked me, can you be spiritual without being religious? I said no. Then I gave him the reason. Can you be well educated without going to a school and having a teacher and having a textbook? He said no. I said, in the same way, an organization, a religious place, a spiritual text, and a teacher like a saint, you need it to become spiritual. You have to first become religious and then spiritual. You can't be academically qualified without going to a school and having a textbook, not having a textbook and not having a teacher and not having an institute. So spiritual thinking, spiritual behavior, religious rites and rituals can lessen the burden, lessen the impact of crisis on your lives. This is experienced. We need science, we need spirituality. And Corona proved it. This pandemic proved this. Science gave us masks, PPEs, ventilators, then vaccine. Even the DRDO gave us the 2G drug for Corona. So science saved our lives. Science, it tenders our physical needs. लेकिन मन की बात जो है, emotional needs, emotional sufferings, that science will not help. That spirituality will help. That if I serve my community, I will experience peace and pleasure, which all of you Rotarians have experienced, isn't it? That when you serve the needy, when you serve a cause, you experience pleasure and peace. That is spirituality. Service is spiritual. When you pray to God, thousands of experiments scientists have done that when you pray, when you chant the holy name, you experience the same peace and pleasure. Because in times of stress, I tell you scientifically that hormones like cortisol and epinephrine gets released in your bloodstream and you get stressed, heartbeats increases, perspiration comes out, and you don't find a way what to do. At that very moment, if you chant the holy name of God, whichever form of God that you believe in, at high speed, for example, I believe in the chanting of the name Swaminarayan. Fine. So if at that time if I indulge in that Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan, Swaminarayan at high speed, scientists say that a hormone called endorphin gets released in your bloodstream. This is all scientifically. I'm giving you the names. You can go on Google and search. This endorphin kills the impact of both the previous hormones, that is cortisol and epinephrine, and you start experiencing pleasure and peace, calmness and coolness. So your physical needs, physical well-being is tendered by science. Your mental and emotional well-being is tendered by spirituality. So keep a combination of both. And spirituality is these two things, service and faith. Balance that out both. Service to humanity and service to God. Both is spiritual. I conclude my talk in 1 minute now with my last good sharing with you that when you become a spiritual person, when you become adhered to spiritual activities, you develop certain good qualities in you. For that, I suggest a good book to all of you. 8 Signs of Spiritual Quotient. That means a person, if he possesses spiritual quotient, spirituality, these are the 8 signs of high spiritual quotient. I will not go into the details of it because that would start another lecture. I'll just name it out, name the 8 signs, which good values, and you would all appreciate that this values in our life, we all have to some extent, but more of it, you will become a better human being, a better professional. This 8 qualities gets imbibed in you more if you become a spiritual person. First, flexibility. Isn't this a good quality to get associated with people? Second is self-awareness. You're more self-aware about you, your happenings, your surroundings. Third, an ability to face and use suffering of life. It is a good quality that you need. An ability to face and use suffering of life. Fourth, an ability to be inspired by a vision. Fifth, an ability to see connection between diverse things. Sixth, an ability to cause as little harm as possible to people, surroundings, and environment. This is a very good quality, that you possess an ability to cause as little harm as possible to people, surroundings, and environment. 7, an ability to ask and probe fundamental questions of life. 8, an ability to work against a convention. These are the 8 qualities. I do a whole lecture of 1 hour on this 8 qualities of high spiritual quotient, but I just named it out for you. This 8 qualities, if imbibed in you, you become a wonderful human being. You become a smart professional. This is the combination you need. A wonderful human being and a smart professional. What else do you need? These 8 qualities are those. We saw these 8 qualities in the life of Pramukh Swami Maharaj. My good friend, your Rotarian Tejas Sura, is online. I could see him. He has met Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He has had the blessings of Pramukh Swami Maharaj. At the moment, we are celebrating the centenary celebrations of Pramukh Swami Maharaj. Of course, everything is online at the moment. But next year in December, we are planning a 34-day offline, huge international festival in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. I take this opportunity to invite you all on some day of those 34 days next year in November, December 2022. But he possessed these qualities we saw from very close. And that is why he could do so much of wonderful work. To the extent that Pramukh Swami Maharaj did 1,300 social service institutions in 45 years of his Guruship. That means every 15th day for 45 years, he gifted a social institute of service, a hospital or a school or a hostel or a college or a community center or a Sanskar Kendra or a Hari Mandir or a Mandir, or you've been to Akshardham at Gandhinagar and Delhi. Every 15th day, he gifted such land and erected concrete construction and dedicated people to the society. How can somebody do it? Imagine if Rotary opens you in Mumbai, every 15th day a new club. What an expansion, what a growth, and what a service opportunity. Pramukh Swami Maharaj did that in 60 countries of the world. Amazing. So when you possess these spiritual qualities, you can do this. So this was all I wanted to share with you today. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me.